we're like, we're gonna get rid of the old one because that one
This is better.
is older, so like it has low, high, warm, but it doesn't have timers or anything, and the new one does have timers.
Yeah, ours is an old crappy one, but I mean, Malavi
Yeah.
uses it. She has one minestrone soup recipe that she does in the crock pot, and that's pretty much and like she'll make nice turkey breast in it for
Yeah.
Thanksgiving. Like I'll grill, like she'll use that to make it so it's not in the oven and
Yeah.
just in a breast, and I'll grill, excuse me, dark meat pieces outside, so like the oven is for sides, you know.
Yeah. No, we do sauce in the crock pot a fair amount. Um and uh we do, that's mostly because it's like, oh, you can set it and forget it and let it kind of cook all day as opposed to like cooking it, quickly. Get your screen, get your color card out.
Where did I put it so that I'll have it when I need it? In my little envelope.
Have you seen have you seen there's a video going around of a guy, he's pushing a stroller and he goes to unlock his front door, looks in the stroller, realizes that the baby's gone. Nice. Nice. Realizes the baby's gone and starts freaking out. And he's like panic looking and he's got the baby Bjorn and he keeps doing this to like hold the baby while he like checks in places and he's freaking out. And I'm like, I have never related to anything more than that.
It's like using your phone's flashlight to look under the couch for your phone.
Yeah. Yeah. Or like holding your glasses, being like, I need to grab my glasses or I won't be able to drive.
Yeah.
Also, is the Cravat Attack font the same as the Goosebumps font? Because it really looks like the Goosebumps font.
It is a hand-drawn thing. It's not a font. Mark Slauson did it. Yeah, it was a Slauson thing. It was hand done, which is a pain in the ass because I can't change anything or do anything like it because it was just, I have it layered in Photoshop, but I have these letters. I can copy and paste these letters in different combinations.
You should tell Mark if he's interested in like extra random money that people are making fonts and like selling fonts for like, and I see ads for them all the time because if I'm doing titling, I'll be like, what is the Star Wars font? And then I'll rip it off, pull it from like a font website. Yeah. And because I do that, I get advertised for like bespoke fonts all the time on Instagram. I have a very weird algorithm.
Yeah, it's like when I made the Hoff Guys coasters for my Hoff Guys, I found a Knight Rider-esque font. They spelled Knight Rider wrong, but it's a font that looks like the font in Knight Rider.
Nice.
Oh,
nice.
I didn't anything.
Hip and Critical. I think that's from last week.
Yeah, so the shoot was supposed to be 3 weeks ago, but it snowed. So it was supposed to be last week, but it snowed. So that was.
I was typing in Mayamo, and then yours popped up.
Should I change mine? I can change.
No, I'll come up with something else.
I got it. But we filmed and we ran out of light, so 7:30 in the morning we had to shoot one more scene on Sunday. So get up early to go to shoot one 30-second scene or less than 30-second scene.
And that was Matt Lahif with you?
Yeah.
This is what I'll do. I just did una pregunta más. It's been a long time since I've taken Spanish. I used to be decent. Now I'm all Italian.
Now you're indecent.
Yeah, I am. I think we all know that. I'm gonna turn my light down a little more because it looks really fucking bright. Alex and I were using it last week for other purposes, and there we go. That's better. I should probably recalibrate my colors then. Okay. I don't know if you can see the chair in the back. That is Alex's cuck chair. Actually, I brought the chair up so I could close some of the vents because the AC and heat in this house is weird.
Hmm.
And then Sarah's like, "Okay, bring it back downstairs." And I'm like, "Well, why don't I just leave it up here?" And it was in our room for like 2 weeks, and I was like, "Now we have our very own cuck chair for the first time."
I made a joke about that during the filming. Actually,
Nice.
it was He's like, well, just put over a chair over here so this guy will sit in this chair so he can spin around and come forward. I'm like, I don't know if he should be rolling so close to us in the cuck chair. And Lahif giggled and nobody else did. I'm like, they just don't know what it means. Like, it was like, no one else was near my age. Like, Lahif's like your age, I guess, so, and so it's like nobody was close. Actually, there was another guy, someone there who was someone's father for the first night who was just going to, as an extra, to be an extra attorney in the room. But like I said, he actually got some of my references, but he has no comedy as well. So he got some of the old comedy references.
Yeah.
But so Lahif kept messing up the line. Furthermore, Mr. Hall, he kept saying further Hall, and I go, fuck. And so finally, I'm like, never mind the furthermore, the plea is self-defense. Never mind the furthermore, the plea is self-defense. Never mind the furthermore, the plea is self-defense. Nobody had any idea what I was doing, and I'm like, Mikey West would fucking do the next line for me.
Yeah.
It's a Monkees song called Zilch, where each of them have a different tongue twister they do as a round, kind of, or actually not as a round, they're just on top of each other. They're each doing a tongue twister until they start messing up and they back out one by one until it's like you go zilch, and then you say tongue twister, and then after a couple of times someone else goes zilch and they come in, and then the last person comes in when he messes up, he just says zilch and stops, and then someone else starts to laugh and says zilch. At the end, it's all of them just going zilch, zilch, zilch.
Sounds like they were just monkeying around.
I think so. I bet it's something they were like doing the tongue twisters to get to like in the studio before doing anything. Yeah. And people say they monkey around, so they did. And I think they just kept, like, said, let's use it. And they kind of found a way to use it or something. Because I don't think it was ever in an episode of the show. I don't know. Mikey can correct me if I'm wrong. He would know. He's more of an expert. I had a friend who used to videotape. Videotapes are these plastic things with a magnetic media in it where you can record.
I am old enough.
Not for you, for everybody else. Oh. And he used to video the Monkees episodes. They used to be on MTV, and he used to videotape them. And he said he had like a collection of homemade Monkees tapes. I'm like, it'd be so cool to have that now with all those like late 80s commercials in them.
Oh yeah. Have you talked to him at all about the idea of turning CK? What's his character's name?
Willie.
CK and Willie into like a long form, like almost like, remember we've talked a couple times about I always wanted to do something similar to The Trip, and then you said, well, you and Mikey doing that would be like,
I think I brought it up to him, and he was like, that at my retirement party. He's like, that would be cool. When we haven't really had a sit down one-on-one to talk about it.
Yeah,
maybe we should.
I mentioned it to Alex. Alex and I were a few weeks ago were talking about like what my plans are for things, and I was like, that would be a really good opportunity for me to just get behind the camera and like do the directing side of things. Like I can get all the B-roll and all that stuff and let you guys do what you do. Is I'll have some input obviously back and forth with story beats and stuff and editing, but like let you guys take care of that side. And I was like, that might be like a really cool first feature concept.
Yeah. The tough thing will be timing for him because he only has 2 days off a week. He's not as free as we are.
Yeah.
It's like Sunday and Tuesday, I think, are his free days because he works retail.
Yeah.
These days.
But if we shot like, I don't know, at Tuesdays would probably be better than Sundays. And if we shot like fairly early in the morning at like rented out like an abandoned, like not an abandoned, but like one of these old bowling alleys, that I bet you like on a Tuesday morning, they're probably like,
right, we don't even rent it out, just go get a lane.
Yeah. Or no, but like, yeah,
it's funny because I can't say it because we're streaming. Never mind.
I can't say it because it's offensive, or can't say it because you don't want to spoil something.
I can't want to say it because I'm under a non-disclosure agreement.
Oh, cool.
Which will be meaningless when it happens, but it's not there yet.
Yeah. But I think that there is like some opportunity for us to do something cool there for pretty inexpensive, and obviously like if we made it and actually were able to like make some money off of it, that would probably be helpful for Mikey as well. I'm sure if working, he works kind of retail. What does he work?
He
in?
works at Walmart.
Oh,
I
okay.
think these days he does like picking things and doing
Yeah.
deliveries. Like doing
So,
personal shopping deliveries.
like all of us could use extra money, but like when you mentioned like the weird
definitely.
hours, like anybody with weird hours definitely could use extra money. All right. We got 2 minutes left. Yeah. So that's I don't know. I'm not a big rush on it. Like I don't think we're ready, but I was thinking like if we started like if you guys started like mulling that over and we wanted to put it in for like a year from now, like as a thought,
yeah,
that might be cool.
Yeah, let me text him real fast. So as a reminder that he and I need to talk about it, because tomorrow's Tuesday, we can talk.
Cool.
Mikey Bear.
There was a bunch of people posted things about how Ricky Martin and Kid Rock are the same age, and that's how hate ages you worse. And I'm like, in 55 years of life, at what point was Kid Rock even close to as good looking as Ricky Martin? Like, I don't hate your argument, but like Kid Rock's a bad example.
He was never known for his good looks.
He was a weird looking 17-year-old. Like he's not a good looking guy. And I posted that, and it's kind of blowing up with people. I mean, because it is shitting on Kid Rock still, so it's not like I'm defending Kid Rock because he's indefensible. Anyway, all right. It's 6:30. When you're done texting him, we'll get started. Oh, Sarah just texted me with some very important information. She found out where Small Cakes went, and she got me a pink vanilla. She would always get me the pink chocolate, and I'm like, I like the vanilla better.
Yeah. Small Cakes. That my when I retired, my last day in the office, that my boss brought in like little cupcake things from Small Cakes. That's where everyone had been doing nothing but cakes, because they have the same little small things. Like that would have been what the last.
I like those too, but
the last couple of goodbye things had been that, and so she was like, she wanted to be different, so she did the small cakes instead, which they were very good.
They're delicious, yeah. All right, so let's get started. Welcome back, everybody.
Hey, everybody.
As you might be able to tell from the title of the video, we're going to be talking about Spanish.
Anybody? Ajou. When Mike sneezes, it sounds like something you would dip a sandwich into.
Yeah. So we're going to be talking about Spanish. I titled the video America's First Language, and I know that Spanish wasn't the first language because the indigenous languages were the first languages. It was just clickbait. All the titles lately have been
always clickbait.
Yeah, it's just to get people.
We're like the New York Times.
Yeah.
Our content is crap, but our clickbait titles keep you coming back.
I didn't know that about the New York Times. I knew that they've dipped their toe in crap. I didn't know.
They've gotten worse and worse and worse.
Yeah. Anyway, so I wanted to talk, Alex, who will not be here tonight, he is the one who thought we should talk about language, Spanish specifically.
Language is a virus.
Okay.
It's a music reference that I knew nobody will get, but it's okay.
Mikey will get it.
I don't even know if he'll get that one.
No.
Not his style of music.
I don't know. But yeah, I want to let's talk about language, especially, a lot of people had a lot of opinions going into last night's Super Bowl halftime show, and the language around it. But I think that there's a bigger conversation to be had around language anyway. We don't have an official language in this country. That's a thing that most people don't know. And some people will say, well, since May, whatever, when Donald Trump executive ordered it, we have, but like, that's not how that works.
Executive order only applies to the executive branch of our government. And extend it out to some the companies that work with it have contracts. So you can say you can only have a contract with us if you follow our rules. So
Yeah.
by extension, some companies for some things, but yeah.
Yeah, but ultimately, America does not have the United States does not have an official language.
United States of
And
America.
United States of America. We're the only
Like
United States that I'm aware of.
United States of Mexico. Mexico is technically United States of Mexico. Technically,
I did not know that. Okay.
Estados Unidos de Mexico.
I did not know that. That's cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so the United States of America.
I took Spanish for a couple of years and failed it.
USA. We don't have an. Lord Bacon the Destroyer is in the chat. That's Alex.
Lord Bacon in the chat.
Still enjoyed it despite not easily understanding all the lyrics. The symbolism was great. But yeah, there's a reason why we have never had an official language in this country, and I think that it's worth talking about. I've heard multiple reasons as to why. I think that they all have some legitimacy to them. The ones that I've heard. The first one that I heard growing up was that the reason why they didn't establish a national official language, it was that so they understood that language is constantly shifting and changing, and so like very really like English is barely the same language as it was 250 years ago. And if we've now spent more than a third of this country's history with mass communications, which slows down a lot of that change of language in like separation of language. So like if we hadn't had 120 years of radio broadcasts and television and film, we would be even further away from British English, for example, than we are, and we would be almost two separate languages.
It's like France and Canada.
Yeah,
like Quebecois, the Canadian French, is it's kind of like not quite, but kind of like Shakespearean English to our English, not quite Shakespearean, more like 18th century. Because it has stayed pure to old French, while France's French has evolved and grown more because it's in the middle of Europe with other influences.
Language is constantly evolving, and so that's what I had been told. And I
don't believe in evolution. Maybe it's microevolution, like in a conversation it might evolve, but there's not macroevolution in language.
When you mentioned that, also Spanish is another one of those languages. Like, if you learn Spanish as an English speaker,
I was envious that your microphone was showing and mine wasn't. So
mine's the big black one. Yours is like a kind of gray one. So
I'm old.
But when you learn Spanish in this country, at least as a second language, the way I learned it, and from what I know from a lot of other Spanish speakers. Or Spanish, I'm not a Spanish speaker. From other Spanish
second language speakers,
students, we learn Spanish, and you learn that like as opposed to Mexican and Central American.
So growing up in Brooklyn, I had a lot of Puerto Rican friends in school.
Yep.
So they took Spanish for the easy A, and we learned Castilian Spanish. And their teachers, and they were doing Spanglish. Really, they weren't like they didn't learn perfect Spanish at home with perfect grammar, and the teachers ripped them apart. And they would be so upset. They would get C's and sometimes fail and be so upset because how can you fail a language you speak? Because they don't speak it the way the class speaks. How did you fail
English? You speak.
I know. That's why I always say like I failed English. Well, no, I never failed English, but people fail English too, so it's understandable. But yeah.
So. That was the first reason I was told, and that's how I grew up thinking.
And I would think the first reason would be at the time of the founding, English wasn't the only language. Florida, they spoke Spanish. In New York, they spoke Dutch because old New York was once New Amsterdam. Why they changed it, I can't say. People just liked it better that way.
That is what I was going to get to as the second thing that I was told that specifically Jefferson, and I could be wrong on that, but I was told specifically Jefferson wanted the regions to have their own languages. He thought that was a good system. He liked that like New Orleans and Louisiana spoke French or a version of French, and Florida was Spanish, and like that, it was he was modeling something European there in his head.
I think John Adams, was one fighting for English because he was from New England. And then I guess it makes sense. I don't know if it was Jefferson, but it makes sense because to me it seems like it's a direct violation of the First Amendment. You have freedom of speech as long as it's English. Like,
Yeah, that's true.
it's like
That's a
that would
great
be
point.
That seems like the First Amendment says you don't have to speak a particular language. Like, that's like the first part of it.
Ricochet Rita says another reference Michael doesn't get.
Oh, because you didn't react to my New York was once New Amsterdam reference. Do you know that reference?
No.
No. It's well, made famous in your lifetime by They Might Be Giants, though the song goes back to like the 50s or 60s. Um, um, that's the lyrics of the song. You want to know? Um, Istanbul or Constantinople.
Oh yeah.
It's Istanbul, not because in the line is old New York was once New Amsterdam. Why they changed it? We can't say people just liked it better that way. Istanbul or Constantinople, Istanbul or Constantinople.
I know the song. I didn't know that there was an Amsterdam part in there.
There's a New York
don't
part.
know it.
Yeah,
I don't know it from They Will Be Giants. I know it from
Animaniacs.
Young Frankenstein. Isn't it in Young Frankenstein?
Was it?
I am almost positive. Isn't that what he's doing on stage? When
they do Super Troop.
No, he's doing it on the Ritz. Put
on the Ritz.
Ritz.
Super duper.
Yeah. Sorry, mixed it up. But I do know the song. Yeah. No, your point about the freedom of freedom of speech,
and then it's like hard to say you can't speak a particular language when you have freedom of speech.
It's also having an official language, I think, is somewhat missing the point of language. Now, lots of countries have, and lots of countries lots of cultures and countries miss the point of language in general. About very much language is defined by a cultural hierarchy to some extent. Like, there's the right way to speak English, and there's the poor way, or the uneducated way.
Definitionally, having an official language is an intentionally exclusionary and like nationalistic thing to do.
Yeah,
like it would have done in English because they were like, well, the Normans don't want you speaking this, and French was the language in England when the Normans were in charge until the Saxons started rising back in power again.
Yeah, and then when you look at American English, like, let's say we actually took the Trump's executive order, made it an amendment, and made English the official language. Like, English is not really a language as much as it is like it is a melting pot of other languages, because it's Germanic and Latin, and that's before you get into the last century. Before you get into the last century, all that stuff was already in there. But then you get into all this, I like to go to the store and get salsa, and I want to, and we have all these things that have just by existing in, cross-cultural, multiculturalism have affected our language.
Yeah, picture that. The commissary in the White House can't serve salsa; they have to serve sauce.
Yes. Would you like some sauce and chips? No thanks.
Nope.
Would you like
you gotta have your spaghetti noodles and I can't say spaghetti, can you? That's Spanish, that's Italian. Your long thin noodles made of wheat.
Yeah. Would you like would you like some gravy and cheese curds on your French fries?
No, that would be Canadian. You can't even serve that.
Yeah.
I would like a flat disc of dough with sauce and cheese on it, please.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like
that it's today. Yeah. Today is National Disc of Dough with Sauce and Cheese on a day.
I did not know that.
I only know it because I went to Google and there was a big thing on Google. This big slice.
Oh, that's cool. A slice of disc with dough, disc of dough and sauce and cheese.
Fermented dairy, crushed tomato on a starch plain. Yummy.
Yeah. And I think, again, like I said, we're missing the point of language. When if you're somebody who has learned anything about other languages, very quickly, it's funny when I'm doing Duolingo And I'm like, why did they make me guess the word that's not different? Like, they'll have a sentence and then they'll be like, I am having a hard time thinking of something, but it'll be like, I am Facebook friends with her. And then it'll be like, me, io sono blank amico, and it'll be like, Facebook? Like, I have to translate Facebook? Why wouldn't I translate amico or one of the other
Yeah.
words? And you kind of go like, oh yeah, because there's so many words that that are crossed over because our cultures have bled together. Like we don't.
Yeah, I
It's
used to
not.
have that with my French colleagues. Like they would
Yeah,
say, like, what is the English word for, and then they'd say a French word that, like, yeah, we use that in English. Like that's the word
yeah,
we use.
yeah, yeah. And Facebook is two words that both exist in Italian. They're not calling it faccia libra. They're calling it Facebook. And so like we've gotten to that point where yes, there are separate languages, and I'm not going to deny that there are separate languages, but to have an official one just really seems like it's like an asinine pursuit. What are you looking up?
Yeah. I was looking for examples of French words
Yeah.
that don't change, because
No.
you know, you know, like because they would say because they would say like, well, I'm actually a literal example. Having lunch in a hotel buffet once in Paris. This
Yeah.
freaks me out. I got beef bourguignon at lunch on a buffet, and my friend Ghislain said to me, he goes, Matthew, do they have beef burgundy in America? And I'm like, we don't call it beef burgundy, we call it bourguignon. Like he
Oh, okay.
translated burgundy into burgundy. I'm like, we call the wine burgundy, but we call the dish burgundy. And then I had to explain, we do, but never for lunch in a buffet. That no. It's only in French restaurants, which are the fanciest, most expensive restaurants. And he's like, but why? I'm like, I don't know why. We just decided at some point that French food is expensive and fancy.
Yeah.
That's the thing we do.
Yeah. I wonder if the words that we don't translate end up becoming becoming a symbol of status in that way, or if that's why we don't translate it. Like, because
But there's some
beef
like,
being
if he's like, I
uh,
keep my clothes in the how do you say bureau in English?
yeah,
It's in the bureau.
yeah,
Like, it just is.
dresser or bureau, like
Yeah, like it just
they're
is.
kind of interchangeable.
Yeah.
I didn't know the word dresser for a long time. I always thought it was a bureau, but
Yeah,
yeah,
well, it is. I mean, like,
yeah.
there's nothing wrong with it. Yeah.
But like then so like some of those things seem like they are, like maybe it's because French has
Like, I
been
would like to have a, how do you say ménage à trois? How do you say that in English, ménage à trois?
three-way. Good old fashioned
I thought that
three-way.
was the road that you drive fast on. That was like,
Nice. And I think about like a lot of those examples of like stuff that's not, not Facebook, like stuff that goes back a bit. And I wonder, like, salsa, is it just to distinguish it from other kinds of sauce? But like we don't do that with other
well,
kinds of
probably because like
sauce.
we didn't have it for a century, right? We had it.
Yeah.
Mexican restaurants served salsa with it. Oh, it's you get salsa because
Yeah.
it's, Mexican restaurant, they call it, it's on the menu. It says salsa, so you're getting salsa. Yeah, and then and it's funny then because I could watch an Italian cooking show and they refer to the tomato sauce as salsa because it's the same
Yeah.
word in the language.
Yeah.
It's just for some reason we translated tomato sauce to English, but not salsa.
Yeah.
But I think it's the old Jerry Seinfeld, because it's fun to say salsa.
Yeah. Well, and when you get into like Italian, maybe Italian is specific on this. Maybe there's no other examples, but like prosciutto in Italian is ham, but prosciutto is a specific thing you can get here.
Yeah, in
And
Italian that'd be prosciutto di Parma is
Yeah.
what we call prosciutto.
yeah,
That's
and
a
then there's
specific kind.
and salami is pepperoni, like what we call pepperoni, they call salami, or a vice versa. And so they don't have like I don't think they have the word pepperoni. I think they
They don't
use
have
the word.
pepper. I even like watch videos of Italians trying to copy
Yeah.
American pizza. They put different kinds of sauce to it. They don't have pepperoni. They
Yeah.
have other salamis they put on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So pepperoni is like our version of a like gordita crunch from Taco Bell. Then is that what we're saying?
Yeah.
Taco Bell's doing its own thing linguistically. They're like, well, we don't feel right trying to sell this to you as an actual Mexican food product, so we're not going to
We
name it
add
after
Ida
actual
to the end of
Mexican.
it.
So we're going to say, what would Mountain Dew call it? And we're gonna it's the cheesy gordita crunch wrap supreme. And I respect Taco Bell for that. Like I've mentioned on occasion that
But you could also,
Olive Garden
just to be more pessimistic for Taco Bell, you can't trademark the actual Spanish word. You make up a word, you can trademark it.
Oh, that's fair. And
no one else can make, the chalupa, I guess, whatever. I don't know which ones they made up and which ones they don't. Mexican food is not my go-to cuisine.
Yeah.
I always say I have never ever said to someone, "Hey, let's go get Mexican food," but I've never said no when someone has said, "Let's get Mexican food." I just never think of it as my go-to.
Yeah, it hasn't really ever been a go-to for me until the last couple of years. Like I've always been down, but yeah, it's the same thing for me.
Especially when we were at, BMRU, it's up in North Durham where there's tons of great Mexican places and taquerias and stuff. And so we went all the time, but it was never my idea to go to. I always be like, "Oh, let's go to the pho place,"
Yeah. What was I gonna say about Taco Bell? I had something else, but I forget.
Yo quiero Taco Bell. When I was a kid, I didn't know what Taco Bell was. I mean, beyond kids, 15 years old, there weren't any in Brooklyn,
Yeah.
and probably not Manhattan. Really, it wasn't a thing. But they were in New York. They were in Long Island, all over the place, apparently. Because I went on a cross country tour as camp when I was 15
to Long Island. Yeah,
and
as you do.
A lot of the people on the tour were from Long Island.
Oh, okay.
And we went to Canada, and then we came down through the northwest states, into California. And somewhere in California, we were near a Taco Bell. And the Long Island kids went fucking nuts. "Oh my God, a Taco Bell. I haven't had a fucking Taco Bell in 2 weeks. I don't know fucking Taco Bell." And we're like, me and my friend David was from Manhattan. We're like, "What the fuck's a Taco Bell?" We had no idea what they were talking. And it was early enough in the 80s that it wasn't ubiquitous Yo quiero Taco Bell commercials yet. They really hadn't exploded all over the place like the way they had.
I think that Taco Bell, though, is probably the number one source for bastardized Spanish in America. That Yo quiero Taco Bell, as far as I know, is somewhat correct in Spanish, but then you got the gordita and the chalupa.
Yo quiero is just "I want," right?
Yeah. But I feel like that's what that's what most non-Spanish speakers in America know about Spanish is Yo quiero Taco Bell. And
yeah, I saw a great comedy sketch once. There was a comedy group in New York called the Burt Firstners. They were a sketch group. They were an improv. They were a sketch group born out of an improv troupe. They came up with a sketch show.
I feel like I've heard of them before.
They had a special on Comedy Central once, 25 years ago, which maybe you've seen a rerun of it. But one of the scenes in their special was a husband and wife, and they're holding the baby, and they're going to do, and the baby looks up and goes, "Mama." "Oh my God, our baby's talking, but she's still a baby. Oh my God, our baby's a smart person. Come here. And I go, "Mama." He goes, "Mom, oh my God, Papa." He said "Papa" to me. I said, "Mama and Papa, our baby's, they're so proud. Oh, you should bring a baby." And the baby goes, "Taco. Remember we had tacos last week? Oh my God. She remembers we had tacos last week. You're so cute. Yo quiero taco." "What?" "Yo quiero taco." And then it's a rambling off, a tirade of how angry the baby is because it wants tacos right now. "Wait a second. Is this from your side of the family?" "No one on my side of the family speaks Spanish. This is from your side of the family. You got it from you."
Nice.
Arguing over the Spanish speaking baby.
When Logan was little, he would call them catos. And he always wanted catos. Also, I told Alex this story, but Logan, little kids get lots of words wrong, right? So at one point he was having me beat a Mario level for him, and it was a tough one, and he was yelling at me, and I'm like, "Calm down. It's chaotic. I can't keep doing this. It's chaotic." Because there really, a bunch of stuff going on the screen. So for months, Logan would use, whenever something was overwhelming, "It's chaotic. It's chaotic." And I'm like, "Not chaotic. That sounds intense."
That sounds like a really weird portmanteau. I don't know if I like that one.
Yeah.
So it's funny. At some point you get to where I am right now. I've been playing Assassin's Creed Shadows, and there's one element of the game where it's you meet random people who will teach you how to shoot a bow and arrow from horseback, but there's just different levels of increasing difficulty obstacle courses to do that. And I'm like, it's not easy to do. There's never time in gameplay ever when you have to do it, or when it's even logical to do it. This is stupid. I don't like it. I'm not doing it. I'm waiting for Jacob to come and visit us because he'll learn it in 5 minutes and he can beat the 10 places where it happens in the game so I can have more completionists. Like I'm at the point where my son comes and finishes with
Nice.
Batman Arkham Asylum. Like I can't do all the gliding through obstacle course stuff. Jacob, do that for me. So he
Nice.
learns the game and does it.
Nice. I want to talk more about
so halftime. I got something to tell you. So here's my thing about halftime. I'm an old man, and I don't know what a Bad Bunny is. I never heard of a Bad Bunny. I've never seen a Bad Bunny. I've never disciplined a Bad Bunny. Nothing about Bad Bunny until Bad Bunny was set. Was scheduled for the Super Bowl.
I knew
and
about
people
one
went
Bad
nuts.
Bunny before that I think you would have known about, but it's not referred to as a Bad Bunny. It's referred to as just a little bunny. You know what I'm talking about? It's just a little bunny.
It's not a bunny. It's a rabbit.
Is it a rabbit? Damn it!
It can leap. Look at the bones, man.
It's got fangs.
Rabbit stew coming up. But this was without a doubt my favorite halftime show. In as far as I can remember. I mean, maybe there was some I liked, but I have gotten used to the idea that I'm into bluegrass, and I'm into some 80s rock. I don't expect the Super Bowl halftime show to cater to me. I'm like, it will never be the style of music I want. If it wasn't Mumford and Sons, there's not going to be bluegrass. Like if they didn't, perform it there at the height of their popularity, it's not going to happen.
Imagine Wagons, as we would like to refer to them.
Yeah. But this particular performance was not a little concert in the middle of a football game like all the other ones are, which makes no sense to me. It was, to me, the opening ceremony of the Olympic Games, when the country's like, let us show you what our country is like through a musical and visual extravaganza. He did Puerto Rico in a musical extravaganza. I mean, I grew up listening to opera, and not understanding it.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a lie. I hate opera. But I grew up listening to all kinds of folk music from around the world and languages that my dad's friends, did Yiddish, they did Russian, they did Spanish, they did Ladino. I heard lots of different things that I didn't understand the words, but the song is the song, the emotion is the emotion. You don't need to know the words to listen to the music. And that, combined with the amazing Broadway production values of that halftime show, made it the most consistently interesting and entertaining halftime show I have ever seen. And as an old guy, I did cheer when I saw, hey, it's Ricky Martin. That's Ricky Martin. I recognize Ricky Martin. I know who Ricky Martin is. So I live La Vida Loca right there, baby.
And she bangs. For full disclosure, we were driving back from the beach, so I didn't see the whole thing. I saw clips this morning, but I don't watch the Super Bowl sports at all, and I only watch the halftime show when I actually care about the artist. But it's that's like 2 of the last 6.
The first time, I am from New York, so I really didn't have a horse in the game. I was rooting for Seattle because the Patriots owner gives money to Trump, so fuck him. So by default, I was rooting for Seattle and was very happy that the Patriots looked like crap. Mike is from Patriot land. He's supposed to care about the Patriots. The reason he does not live in the Massachusetts and Boston area anymore is because he was deported because he did not watch football.
Yeah, and it's because I didn't want really cold weather and snow.
Sure. You can try to tell yourself that you weren't deported. You chose to leave.
Anyway, but what I think that the discourse around, I mean, first of all, it's been the discourse around the last like 3 or 4 at least. Kendrick last year. I think it was Usher the year before. Maybe it was less so with Usher. Maybe Usher's like mainstream enough for a long enough period of time that it wasn't a big deal.
Was the Usher the one where it was like all the 90s rappers kind of came back? Or was that the year before?
No, that was Dr. Dre with Eminem, Snoop Dogg, 50 Cent.
Because I know that the right went crazy over that. Like, what the hell we listen to this kind of music for? Where's my music?
And they want it to be for football fans. And I kind of think that that's not the point of it. From a first of all, the people who are bitching consistently every single time are the people who are talking, who will tell you all about the free market and all that shit, right? And I'm
Right.
pretty confident that like what Bad Bunny brings to the Super Bowl is non-football fan viewers so that they can bolster, like if you're a football fan, you're going to watch.
No,
Or
well,
or if your team is in it, you're going to watch, right? But if
what's really fun is my house. I watch everything that goes. Usually not the halftime show. Frankly, this is the first time I've watched the entire halftime show. But I watch the everything. My wife and daughter are in the room the whole time on their phones until the commercial breaks, and I'm like,
yeah,
I have to tell them when there's a commercial break because they want to see every commercial. Leah watches some of the plays. If I get excited, she watches the instant replay.
yeah,
But they're just there completely for the commercials while I'm
yeah,
watching the game and the commercials.
yeah. And
If you
so
check
like
out Madhavi's Facebook page, it's all comments about the commercials. Like she didn't
nice.
nothing. What a great play. There's none of that.
But like that's like the halftime show is helping to justify those ridiculous ad prices that everybody's paying to get into those. Like, yeah, the game is great for football fans, right? But like ultimately, what is it? Maybe half of all football fans will watch regardless of who's in. Maybe it's a little more than half. I don't know what the number is, but it's not everybody. But
I mean,
like,
football to me is the best sport for that. Frankly,
yeah,
like baseball, if you watch a game and you don't care who's playing, it's the most boring piece of shit in the
true,
world.
true.
That's like football. The plays are exciting to watch regardless who's playing.
I
You
think
might you won't get
basketball.
angry
I've been getting
because
really
your
into
team's not
basketball
losing.
because of Logan. Logan's playing
Yeah,
basketball. I'm like, oh, this sport's yeah,
I put football's my favorite to watch. Basketball is next. Hockey would be up there if they scored more than once a year.
yeah,
But like, yeah, the games that you don't, watching it's fun. Versus baseball is a game of suspense and stress, and
right,
it's only suspenseful if you care who wins.
right. But I just think that like I know that the NFL has put in a lot of work to try to broaden their fan base because they're doing what do they call the when they send like the game the teams out for a game in England or Brazil or where they'll go do like it'll be the Patriots versus the
Yeah,
Giants
exhibition games in different
yeah,
markets. Yeah,
so that they can like broaden their horizons. And the easiest way to get people viewing that aren't already football fans is the halftime show. And so you get like somebody who is, like Bad Bunny who's singing in Spanish, which what, Spanish is probably what fourth most popular language in the world.
second in America.
Right. But also you're getting the majority of South America and Central America could, speak Spanish and
Hmm. I mean, I don't know. China and India are really, really big countries. So there's more
right.
people in China
That's
than
why
there are in all of South America.
well that's why I
Yeah.
said the fourth largest. So it's
Yeah.
probably like English, Spanish, and French, and then China, Mandarin, maybe Cantonese. I don't know if Cantonese is as big as Mandarin, but and then what language does the average Indian person? Is it
English.
Hin English?
I
But
mean,
isn't there
so
like
English and
there's a
Hindi are the
bunch
national
Hindi?
languages,
Yeah,
but there's 27 different languages, and
yeah, yeah,
they're not similar. Like,
yeah,
speaking
yeah.
one does not mean you speak the other.
Right,
Like the word potato, my wife, speaks two Indian, well, three if you count Hindi, but speaks two Indian languages. Potato is patata and aloo. Like they're not even similar. Like it's not even close. So yeah, so India is tough because if they were really 27 different kingdoms until England forced them together and said you're a country now. So
yeah.
uh, yeah.
So okay, I was right when I said fourth.
Yeah,
Cool.
you're good guess.
According to Google's AI, I was right, but that was just a guess. So English 1.5 billion, Mandarin Chinese is 1.1 to 1.2 billion, Hindi is 600 to 609 million, and Spanish is 550 to 560 million.
Yeah, like there's a
And
billion people in India, and only 60% actually
right,
speak Hindi.
and then you also probably want to look at like, okay, now when you look at the players playing the
Yeah,
game
that's what I pulled up
because
the demographics of the NFL, and it's 50. What I found was 53.5% African American,
right.
25% white, non-Hispanic, and then it's everything else is a
Yeah.
mix of different things going down.
Right. Like and I'm sure there's probably everybody's represented to some degree but like getting if you have Spanish speaking performers and then in the halftime show and then you have there's probably a good amount of Hispanic people and Spanish speakers in football. Uh then compared to Mandarin, speakers or Hindi speakers, right? So like I don't know, but I would guess that there's probably more South Americans coming here and learning,
Yeah,
coming here
but
for, you know,
like you say, if it's just to entertain and get new people to watch, then if you did a giant Bollywood halftime
yeah.
show, that could be amazingly entertaining, even if
Mhm.
you don't know language. I mean, and they would probably, if I would guess, they would probably jump between languages. They would do,
Yeah.
4 or 5 of the biggest languages, besides Hindi, as they went through, and English.
Yeah.
They would probably mix them all together
Oh yeah, yeah.
just to make it more exciting. But but you can definitely do that. Like I say, I grew up listening to worldwide folk music. You don't need to know the language to enjoy it, especially something as theatrical as this performance. Like
Right.
watching them on stage in a concert might not be the most exciting thing in the world, but for this, it's certainly. I mean, people have been going to opera for centuries. They don't speak the
Yeah.
German and the Italian that the opera is in. They go
Yeah.
because the emotion is there.
Right. Also NFL, if you're
And
listening,
frankly, I know
he just
this
had a
is your
great idea.
culture. I don't want to.
Bollywood is a Bollywood performance for halftime would be next level. It would get a whole new area of the world watching, right?
Yeah.
But also it would the controversy, I think, is part of the selling point to some
So
extent on a lot of
yeah,
this stuff
I would
because
say, and it could be that the NFL, with the exception of the fucking Patriots, hate Trump because Trump like
mm,
really hurt football back when the XFL tried to form, and he
mm,
pushed to make it his way because he was an owner, and he destroyed that league. Like a lot of people lost a lot of money
yeah.
because of Trump, and I don't think they've ever forgotten that.
Oh,
And then Trump tried
yeah.
to get MAGA people to, boycott the NFL last time around. So
Yep.
they lost money from him again. So I will not be surprised if saying "fuck you, Trump" was part of why they had Bad Bunny.
Yeah. But
Not the
also
only reason, but part of the reason.
Also, they know that the boycotting in some ways works, in some ways doesn't work, right? Like you can organize certain kinds of boycotts. You're not going to get that group of people to really boycott the Super
Right.
Bowl.
Well,
It's
have
just
you
not
seen
going to
there's a
happen.
clip going around, and I assume it's real. It looks like it's real because it's crappy quality, and that makes me think it's real. Of the Trump Super Bowl watch party. That's all officials and politicians,
Yeah.
giant screens all around, and the Bad Bunny performance is playing on all the screens. Like they
Yeah.
didn't switch over to Kid Rock's lip syncing.
Bad. Like I at one point before it zoomed in on Kid Rock, I was like, "Oh, his voice is kind of held up. It sounds exactly like it did when I was in high school." And I'm like, "Oh, because it's the recording from when I was in high school." Like he wasn't like it wasn't not a new track. It was like
Yeah, he's playing the album.
like he's a 55-year-old man
Yeah.
who I'm pretty sure smokes, and like his voice sounds like he's
What was
like it
really
did
weird
20.
is we had the window open just for a little cool airing because we were overheated, and I could hear Jamie Lynn Spears screaming in anguish when it was happening, along with the surviving member of Milli Vanilli. Uh,
It wasn't Jamie Lynn Spears. You got the wrong
is it
sister.
wrong? I just googled what's Britney Spears' sister's name.
It was Jessica Simpson's sister, Ashley
Wrong
Simpson.
bitch. I don't know. I don't know them. I don't listen to music. I know country music. I don't even country. I know old country music, not the fucking jingoistic shit. And I know bluegrass.
Yeah.
Damn it! Don't ruin my
The
jokes, bad
the
pop musician
jingoistic shit
family.
is it's so I grew up on 90s country, and there's a bit of 90s country that I think could go both ways, but like a lot of today's country is like really like you said jingoistic, or even if it's not directly, like the people are like you've got Jason
It's Toby
Aldean, try
Keith
that.
changed it, like the shift of the
Yeah.
Toby Keith style song.
But then when you go back and you look, like there's the clips of Johnny Cash and Chris Christopherson, and they're like, "Well, a woman could be a good president. Why, like they're just talking about like
Yeah, Willie
common,
Nelson, who's super liberal,
yeah, yep." And they're
because if you were a good musician, especially a good singer songwriter, you have to be able to, empathize with people, and it's hard to be a piece of shit conservative when you have empathy. It's hard to be a good talent when you don't.
yeah. Well, and you're right about Toby Keith brought the conservatism directly into it. I think he is like a huge part of it with like capitalizing off of 9/11 and like we'll put a boot in your ass, but also like at the same time as him, and I don't think that Kenny Chesney is a bad person, but Kenny Chesney ruined country music as far as I'm concerned by making it all about beer. And by doing that, you don't need to have talented storytelling like you did in the 90s and before.
Yeah.
Like you listen to old Garth Brooks. Old Garth Brooks
Garth Brooks is
songs
great.
the
Great.
songs are stories. And
Dwight Yoakam, Garth
yeah,
Brooks, they were great. I mean, they were a little late in my era of listening to country, but they were still they were great.
you listen to that 90s stuff, but
the
then
pussification of country is when they went from singing about whiskey to singing about beer. What the hell?
sure,
Look at
but
Whitney
also
drink is beer versus whiskey.
it was when like Kenny Chesney came in with his Summerfest, which ran for, it may still be running, it's 20 something years in, but it's like it was like let's make country into Jimmy Buffett. I don't have a problem with Jimmy Buffett, but like country as a genre didn't need to become Jimmy Buffett in the like I got a beer, and I know that's not Jimmy Buffett, but like that's
I know.
what it
I
became.
think Jimmy Buffett didn't even drink beer. He was doing like tequila, margaritas.
Have you ever seen there's a stand-up and he talks about, and I'm forgetting who it is. I want to say maybe it's Sam Morril, but I could be wrong. And it's he talks about the fact that Margaritaville is the saddest song in the world if you listen to it with what Margaritaville now is as a place in your head, the chain of restaurants. It's like wasting away again in Margaritaville. My lost shaker of salt.
This disgusting corporate touristy bar.
Yeah. And he's like, the way he wrote it isn't that bad, that depressing of a song, but when you put it into
it's supposed to be a depressing song. He's basically saying, I'm just crawled into the bottom of a bottle. I mean,
sure.
Drinking
but it's so much worse when you think about him being in like Myrtle Beach, Margaritaville, just getting shit faced. All right. So yeah, I think that the point of bringing in Bad Bunny is, he's apparently one of the most popular musicians in the world. I actually know him better from non-music stuff because he's been on SNL a bunch. He's great on SNL, by the way. He was in the new the not Billy Madison, Happy Gilmore sequel, and he was great in that. So like I know him from his acting, which is weird. I've actually seen, I think I saw every movie he was in this year, not because he was in them. But he's he's great. But like then you look at the fact that he's this huge deal, and it's the NFL is trying to make money, and I don't like the NFL in a lot of ways. I think that they're doing a lot of bad stuff, but like hiring popular musicians isn't it. And also like Bad Bunny is
so I'm just scrolling through the Grammys. He's won like 6 Grammys and been nominated for another half dozen that he didn't win. Yeah. Seems like a popular enough artist to be deserve a show.
He also like, it's funny because like, yes, he has had some political outspokenness, but nothing like terribly controversial other than like, I don't want, he 6 months to a year ago was talking about how he was not going to do shows in the United States, proper or whatever, continental United States, because of not wanting his fans to worry about ICE raids. Mm-hmm. So like he's had little, I want to say,
but that's not even being political. That's being realistic.
Right.
I'm not going to sell out if no one wants to come to my show.
Well, and I think that it's also as much, worry about the safety, but you're right. It's not political. Like that.
I mean, it could be political, but it doesn't have to be. It could just be, like we told our landscaper, hey, your crew is Latino. If you guys don't feel safe coming this
Yeah,
month when ICE is in town, don't come this month. We'll let the
yeah,
grass grow. We don't want you
yeah.
guys in any danger.
No,
That's not a political statement. That's we don't want them in danger.
yeah. I actually, before Alex mentioned about the language, Spanish specifically, as a topic for tonight, I thought about, like, let's talk about the fact that everything is political, because I've been seeing some people posting stuff lately about, like, don't trust people who make politics their whole personality, and how, like, politics is, like, why is everything political? And it's like, it like,
But I think it's because
not for us
political
so much.
became morality and ethics instead of politics,
Fair,
and that's why
fair,
everything's political. Because politics isn't politics anymore. It's ethics now.
fair. But,
Yeah.
like, and for you and me, as
Like, I'm
take
not
our
arguing tax theory, tax
no, no,
rates,
no.
and zoning issues.
Right. You take our, your family, and to some extent my family, out of the situation, and, like, we're white guys. We're not affected by it. So we have that privilege to be apolitical to some extent. But, like, when you look at, like Bad Bunny showing up was controversial because of who he is. That is like, even
Because
if he
he's a
hadn't.
natural born American. His parents were natural born Americans.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I don't
how
mean it in
much of the
the
social media saying deport Bad Bunny, which is going on today, do you think is real versus what percentage is bots and people being purposely saying shit to stir things up, knowing that he's American and not really believing he should be deported back to America?
I don't know. I
I
genuinely
saw
don't know.
one of my favorite things I saw recently. I saw a TikTok from Steve Hofstetler,
Yeah.
who is Joseph's favorite comic these days because he's so anti-Trump, saying, "Hey, he goes, he goes, I need to apologize. I didn't get the issue with Bad Bunny until I looked into it more. Now I get it. I I, I did the research and I saw that he's from Puerto Rico and the president of Puerto Rico is a pedophile. And I get it. The president of Puerto Rico is a pedophile, and that is an issue. We shouldn't be celebrating that. So yeah, spread the word. The president of Puerto Rico is a pedophile.
Yeah. I shared something. It was a woman talking about how Bad Bunny is ineligible to be president of the United States, and so, like, she's 100% on, like, on the side of, like, admitting outright that Bad Bunny is not eligible to be president of the United States because the Constitution very clearly says you have to be 35 years old, and he is 31 years old. And, like, and I think that there is, like, his existence is political, like him getting picked. So, like, that's what I thought about that. And I was like, that is something that I think we need to talk about. And we can just make this a half and half episode. But, like, ultimately, there, look at the little boy. I'm sorry that I forgot the little boy's name, but the little boy that was used by ICE to grab his parents, and then they grabbed him, with the blue hat on, I think. Yeah. You know what I'm talking about, in Minnesota?
Yes, the 5-year-old boy.
Yeah, like, that kid isn't political, but he was made political. Like, that kid just exists. He's not being
Liam
political.
Ramos.
Liam Ramos. Is that the one that was on stage with,
No,
or
the
okay.
rumor was that it was him, but it was not. It was an
I
actor or
that, and,
something.
and I knew that,
Yeah.
but I was wondering if you were using the wrong name, because I think
No. Yeah, Liam Ramos is who that the rumor was. Oh, it was Liam Ramos. It was Liam Ramos, and then it wasn't. It was someone else.
Oh, okay, gotcha. But, like, everything, this idea that we have this privilege of not having things be political. I would love to go back to a time where your generic racial makeup is not a political stance. Like, we as white guys get to have that, but, like Bad Bunny ultimately was, he's an American who does speak English. Like, maybe he's not as he has an
I haven't
accent.
heard him speak. How does he? How well does he speak?
I saw
And
him.
I asked this not as a racist. I asked this because people I knew when I was like in New York, when I meet someone who is visiting from Puerto Rico, they
Yeah.
usually almost had British accents. Because, like we said, we learned Castilian when we
Yeah.
learned they learned English in school, and they learned it very, very proper. It's like whenever I
Yeah.
met Puerto Rican tourists, their English was better than mine. Like you would think they were British tourists. Like sometimes you meet Indians who have British accents because they learned so
Yeah.
properly. I've met many Puerto Ricans like that, where they speak better than I do because they learned it in school. They
The
learned it
bits that I've
properly.
seen him speak English, he's speaking fine. He has a thick accent, but he's speaking fine.
Is his accent thicker or less thick than Gerardo's?
I don't know who Gerardo
You don't know who
is.
Gerardo is? Oh my god, dude! Oh man. Okay, later. I'll send you a link. You're
Okay.
a rap guy. You should love Gerardo. He was the first big, like before Ricky Martin. Gerardo was like the first Latino hip hop star that I was aware of. Like he rapped in Spanglish, like half Spanish, half English rap. It was good.
It was before Rico Suave.
It was Rico Suave. Gerardo, he sang Rico
Oh,
Suave. That was his
I
song,
did.
Rico Suave.
I thought that was the guy's name. I didn't realize that.
No, that means like suave.
I thought it was a guy named Rico. I mean,
No,
Rico is that could easily be a stage name.
It could be a name. It could be a stage name. You're right. It could be. It's a good point. It could be. No, yeah.
Okay,
It's
then I do know
Gerardo singing
Gerardo.
Rico Suave.
Well, I've never heard other than
Rico.
that song. I don't know what is
Suave.
You know,
it was his only hit. It was a one-hit wonder.
Yeah, but speaking versus singing, like accents and stuff.
Yeah, it's like when he's talking, he's like, your mother made a guy like me. He's got a very. I mean, he may be a put on, but he's got a very thick accent when in the English parts of the song.
Yeah.
Oh, Rico.
All right. Well, yeah.
Suave. Oh, Rico.
Okay, then I'm glad that I didn't completely fail the test.
No, you just didn't know the guy's name. But that's good. You know the song. That's more.
I didn't know the Monkeys reference. I didn't know.
Nobody knew the Monkeys reference. I was so sad. But that's Cherry Butt. You still on? So Cherry Butt here. This was before we talked. I did a video shoot this weekend, and one of the actors kept mispronouncing furthermore. He was like mixing it to the next name. It was like his line was furthermore, Mr. Hall, and he kept saying further Hall, like he was banging his head against the table. He was so upset he kept saying further Hall. So I said, Cherry Butt, can you guess what I said? Can you guess, Cherry Butt? I said zilch. Never mind the furthermore, the plea is self-defense. Never mind the furthermore, the plea is self-defense. And nobody out of the 20 people in the room, cast and crew, nobody got the reference. I was very upset. Would you have gotten it, Cherry Butt? I will watch the chat for your answer.
I have just so you know, I have watched the Monkeys TV show, but I was a very little child.
Yeah, I don't know that zilch was ever in any of the episodes. I think, like we kind of said before, I think it was them screwing around with tongue twisters. It's like I think they're like it's 4 different tongue twisters put together. I think they're probably just monkeying around, like you said, and decided to record it. I feel I get that vibe from it.
Yeah. All right, let's. We've been going for almost an hour. Let's start to wrap things up. Do you have any last thoughts?
We already wrapped. We did Gerardo.
Yeah.
Rico. Suave.
Yeah.
Cool. When you do the edit, you can put those over each other, so it's like perfectly together.
Yeah. I probably won't, but I could. All right. Yeah. You have any last thoughts on the subject before we start the Patreon spiel?
I do want to say that the old joke that in Europe, if you speak 3 languages, you are educated. If you speak 2 languages, you are literate. If you speak 1 language, you are an American tourist.
Yep, that's good. I had not heard that before, but it's a good one.
I have a lot of French friends.
Yeah, it's one of those things where like now that you said it, let's get back into that for a second, because one of the things that like Americans, and I'm going to describe a group of Americans, and it's the same group for these 2 different things. The people who want everyone that comes here to speak English also want to go everywhere else and have everyone speak English to them. Like
the ugly Americans.
Yeah. The ones who are like, hey, where's the McDonald's around here? And you're like, we're in Rome, sir.
I will say that when I was in England, I think like after 4 days in London, the food was so rotten everywhere that we went on my set tour where we didn't have free range of where we went. So I'm not saying England is like, and 1985 was that bad, just where we went as a tour of 30 teenagers. When we had free time, my friend Dave and I got in a cab and said, take us to McDonald's.
I'm not hating on that. England, like, but I have an uncle who, and that accent is not my uncle's accent. But when I went to Italy the first time in 2009 with my aunt and uncle and their
Because they
three
treat you like
kids,
family there.
and then we had a couple of my grandfather's sisters brought us all. Um, we had been in we had been in Italy for about a week, and we're in Rome, and he goes, "I'm taking the kids to McDonald's. We need something normal." And I was like, first of all, it's Italy. It's not like England. I would get it, right? But then
Right.
what they got for lunch was
Like I yell at
McDonald's.
my French friends, why did you go to McDonald's? There's McDonald's in
Yeah,
Lyon.
yeah,
You got it's packed. Why is it packed? I
yeah.
don't understand.
But when so me and the two great aunts go to a cafe, and the rest of them go to McDonald's, and they're like, the kids just need normal food. We go and we order ham and cheese paninis, which are ham and cheese sandwiches.
Really? Did you
So
just say that? Did you put an S at the end of the word panini? What kind of Italian are you? Panini's plural.
in Italian it is, but I'm speaking
In any
English.
language it is. It's pane, P-A-N-N-E is singular.
Panino,
Panini
yeah,
is plural.
I know.
I thought you're learning Spanish. Duolingo is failing you.
Learning Italian.
Sorry, you're learning Italian. Duolingo's failing you. I'm not learning it. I don't need to know.
But yeah, there's that group of
That's when a restaurant loses points with me if it says paninis on the menu board with an S. I'm like, you've just lost points.
yeah. Anyway,
So real quick, on that same trip to Europe when I was 18, we were in um, Switzerland. I think it's when we were in Zermatt, but it could have been Geneva. And there was a billboard for McDonald's with Chinese food. And our tour guide had told us there's this one McDonald's that is test marketing Chinese food. And she was like really tickled by it because she's like, we're very conservative. We don't do new things. So it's very weird to test it here of all places.
yeah,
And
agreed.
yeah, it's and there's like a bus stop size billboard, not a full billboard, but like a bus stop size sign.
Yeah,
And my friend David and I are David was like 15, I'm 18. We're standing next to it, and we're like, we got to find where this is. Like, there's an address, but we don't know where the hell we are. We just got our free time. And I'm gonna do an accent, and I don't mean to be offensive, but the story does not work without the guy's accent. This black guy is walking towards us, and we stop him, and David and I are schmucks. We don't speak English. I mean, we speak English a little. We don't speak French or German, but we're in Switzerland. And our tour guide, one of the guides, was a French major, and he had given us some tips. So we're like pointing at McDonald's. We're like, "Ooh ah, McDonald's," and guy looks at us like we're nuts. I'm like, okay. Ooh ah, McDonald's. So point at the sign, and he goes, "You guys want to go to McDonald's?" He was from Chicago. And he had moved to Switzerland, and then he walked us to McDonald's, and we were hanging out with him and had a great time.
that accent was not at all as bad as I thought we were going to get from that.
I
And
know the setting up the joke doesn't work as funny unless I set it up that way.
yeah. When Sarah and I were on our honeymoon we were in Venice, it was our second to last day. We're waiting at the train station to take the train back from Venice to Rome, and we are like having lunch there because we're like, we don't want to go too far, so we get panini. We get a couple of panini, and then we get some of those lemon sodas. I don't know if you had they have like it's just literally called like lemon soda. I don't think it has a brand name on it, and it's imagine mixing like lemonade with Sprite. It's like that, which is amazing.
Yeah.
And we got them everywhere we went basically because it was the best non-alcoholic thing to get. And behind us are a couple of other Americans who I did not see, but I could guess their race based on the way that they said it. That is a good ass lemon soda. And I won't do the accent now, but they did say good ass lemon soda. And I was just like, yes, I know.
I was going to ask if you ordered a hamburger and ended up getting a hamburger patty smothered in a mushroom cream sauce, because that's happened to David at the restaurant near the train station.
Oh,
And
nice.
he was furious. He's 15 years old. He just wanted a fucking cheeseburger, and it said hamburger on the menu, and he got basically a Salisbury steak and mushroom sauce. He was so mad. So
Yeah.
mad.
I as a point tried not to order anything that wasn't Italian specific. Like, and I know you can get kind of samey that way, and especially someone who doesn't eat fish, and there's like a lot
Yeah,
of,
me too.
but like there was still a lot of options. Like, and
Well, for
so like,
me, my entrees, we were on a lot of set meals because we were a tour group, and
yeah.
it was usually like, here's a chicken cutlet,
Hmm.
yay. But the pasta course was different every time.
Hmm.
And I was with all these, this tour, my tour was one third males and two thirds female, and the girls were all on diets and they didn't want to eat that much pasta. So the girls would be passing me their pasta. So I'd be have like four half plates. Like they eat like half the pasta, and I'd eat mine and then like all theirs. And in one place, they were just serving ravioli like from a tray going around the table. And by the time he did the round, I had three half bowls in front of me, mine. So they came back and they were just feeding me more and went back to the kitchen and got more. And everyone else is eating the chicken cutlet and I'm just eating ravioli. And the chef came out to meet me. I was
Nice.
18. I was a bottomless pit. I was just eating all the ravioli he can churn out.
I actually, now that you mention it, I want to bring up another last thought because it starts off from that, but like I was in. I think I've told this story before, but I was at a family event or family dinner in Italy. The Italy family doesn't speak English. We don't speak Italian, but we have like two aunts that can translate for everybody. But there's 20 of us, so like it's slow translating. And I'm getting served my second bowl of pasta, and I'm like, how do I say enough? How do I say enough? And the Italians are like, enough, enough,
We don't
and
have that word.
and finally, I'm like, I'm interrupting
No
the
mas.
I'm interrupting the translator. In my family, and I'm like, how do I say enough? And she goes, basta, and they all go, basta, enough, basta, and they start like teasing me about it, right? And but there was this great thing not just with family, but very much with family too, where and this is to our language topic of the show, is that like when being in Italy, there was and I'm sure there was an extent to which this would have been stretched and ruined if I had been like a real asshole about it, but there is a desire to communicate that was so strong that like you you're not having conversations, but like at one point we're walking behind or we're walking ahead of the two translating aunts, and it's me and another is my grandfather's cousin, so he's a 60 or 70-year-old man, and he doesn't speak a word of English, and so he's trying to find out about me. I'm 25, and he goes, Marito, or what, Marito, and he points, or he says it, and I don't understand, and then he points at his ring, and I said, no, only 25, and he goes, 25, and I was like, 25, and he goes, 25, and like, and we were able to go back and forth, and it's
You're doing
because
Spanish
there's
and it's close enough to Italian that he can figure
yeah,
out what you're
but
trying
there's
to
also
say.
like such a generosity of spirit of like we don't need, like there are certain things you can communicate with another person that you don't necessarily need to have a language in common. And if we could learn that, that would be great. And there's plenty of Americans who know that and would be, do the same thing. And I worked retail, so I sometimes helped people who didn't speak English, and I would try to reflect that same generosity of spirit, and just be like, we're gonna get through this, like we're gonna be able to figure this out. But it's something that, like, when you have that chip on your shoulder about, this is America, speak American, damn it, like, we're not doing, not only are we not helping other people, but we're not helping ourselves in enriching our culture by, like, that was one of my fond memories of being in Italy, is that the people were so warm when they didn't understand a word I was saying. And,
Hmm.
and and that was, a lot of that was family, but there was a fair amount of incidents similar to that where it was not family, and it was,
So France has a reputation of being rude, but that's Paris.
yeah,
Because everywhere else I was in France, I had the same thing. Like, for storekeepers and small, especially in smaller places that aren't touristy, so they don't automatically speak English.
yeah.
And even in Paris, I was in one sandwich shop where the guy didn't speak English. There's a little hole in the wall. And the guy, it was so wonderful trying to explain to me that, oh, I get a salad with that, go back and get a a side
Yeah.
salad, and it's like a little bodega. And yeah, people are wonderful about if you're making an honest effort, they'll make an honest effort.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's a well,
I
that
did
was my
have a
last.
moment in Italy where I was craving mushroom pizza, and I went looking down the English side of the menu and found mushroom pizza,
Fungi.
and looked over the Italian side to order, and I'm like, pizza alla fungi. I can't order pizza alla fungi. I don't want a fungus pizza.
I ordered buffalo I ordered
Buffalo.
buffalo.
When I said buffalo in France, or an Italian restaurant in France, buffalo mozzarella, they fucking laughed me out of the restaurant. They were like, buffalo instead of buffalo. They were so mad.
I ordered like at 3 nights in a row I ordered something that had buffalo in it. And this is how dumb 25-year-old Mike was. Third night my plate comes and I'm like, looks good, but it doesn't look like what I thought I was getting. And I don't even know if I said it out loud. My aunt goes, you keep ordering that. What do you think you're gonna get? And I was like, buffalo chicken, like like buffalo sauce. And she goes, no,
buffalo milk.
She goes, the cheese is made from milk from a buffalo. And I'm like, oh.
I knew what I was trying to order. I just didn't pronounce it the way they did, so they were laughing at my pronunciation. I knew I was ordering a buffalo cheese pizza, but of course I wasn't 25. This was like 8 years ago. My first, in France.
Okay.
This was recent, relatively. Yeah.
No. This was for me. This was. I mean, 25 still old enough too old to be making that mistake, but
yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, let's wrap it up.
Let's wrap it up. Okay, si estás viendo esto al YouTube, suscríbete, activa las notificaciones, dale me gusta al video y deja un comentario. Nos ayuda mucho y no cuesta nada. No será tan descarado como para pedir dinero.
Let's see, and I'll do it in Italian. No. If you didn't,
and if you've ever seen a video on YouTube, you know what I just said.
Yeah. And yeah, I don't know how to say if you want to give us money. Soldi is money, but in Italian. If you want to give us money,
dinero in Spanish.
Dinero, yeah. Well, is dinero money or is it like
a dollar is dollar?
Yeah. Okay.
There's dolores and there's pesos and pesados, okay. But dinero is money.
Yep. It's been a long time, and now because I have like I have a long history of Spanish, and I have like several years of Italian now. Like I do get some things confused.
Growing up in an Italian restaurant and then having gone to Italy right before college, and I went Spanish class at NC State. I cannot say gracias. I only say grazie. I couldn't say adios. I said ciao. And I said like buongiorno instead of buenos dias. Just because they were natural things. I said them so often. And my Spanish teacher was like, said, it's fine. He goes, everyone would know what you meant. I'm fine with it. Like you say grazie instead of gracias, I'm fine. And I'm like, it's not that I don't know they're different. It's just that I say grazie for the last 10 years as a normal word. I say ciao not to be pretentious, but just because I grew up in an Italian restaurant with my best friend's father from Sicily.
Yeah. But if you're wanting to support the show in a way that is more than just ringing the Taco Bell, you can also go on our Patreon at patreon.com/talking about the big stuff. We have 4 options there for you. There's a $0 option, which just gets you the show as usual, but through there, and it helps us. $1 obviously helps us because we get $1 a month. And it helps you because you get the show early. $3, you get the show early with some extra stuff, and $10, you get the show early with the extra stuff, plus that like bonus. Most of the time, it's like 15 minutes now at the beginning. Where Matthew, Alex, and I shoot the shit. And a lot of times it is vaguely related to the episode because, we're warming up and we're being like, no, save that. No, save that for the episode. But we do have some little bits and pieces there. And yeah, you should check that out. And it's patreon.com/talking about the big stuff. Alex and I have a new podcast as of October, so not that new.
A not
Cinnamon.
new podcast.
Cinnamon. And Alex and I have been working on a short film. Matthew is the voiceover of the Doctor.
I have a voiceover. I have 4 lines.
Yeah, well, it's going to be more. And we
4
released
lines in the proof of concept video. We'll see what the final
we did a
script
proof
says.
of concept video, which I will link below in the show notes, because that's people are liking that. And yeah. All right, so we will see you next week.
And I will say that in my Spanish, I said I would not be rude enough to ask for money just because I knew you would.
Sweet. But you used Google Translate. I'm almost positive.
I certainly did. So it probably wasn't perfect translation. It's not the best translating program, but
good. Well, I just wanted to make sure that everybody knows that you didn't put the only
certainly would
extra
not have
effort.
rapid fired my Spanish that fast.
Hola, una pregunta.
I used to be good at restaurant Spanish when I worked in restaurants, but I were actually trying to explain to the kitchen crew at the restaurant I worked in that I was ordering different soft foods to take home to my grandfather who I was living with, and they asked me how old he was, and I said, "Mi abuelo tiene 100 años," and they went, no ciento, and I'm like, sí, 100 años, and they're like, no. I'm like, oh, sorry, I said 99 años, and they were like, no, not 99. I'm like, sí, 99. And they're like, no. I'm like, ciento menos uno, and they went, oh, 99. Like they just couldn't believe that he was 99. They thought I was just saying it wrong until I did 100 minus 1. They go, "Oh, you're not saying it wrong. He's 99." And then they started, and it was an Italian restaurant. I kept getting Italian things that are soft from because he had like no teeth left for him, and it was things he never had, like stuffed mushrooms, things he never had in his life. And then the guys started making. They were Ecuadorian, most of the kitchen staff, and they started making these Ecuadorian dishes from my grandfather. Like they made special for him. So he was like eating foods he never had in his life at 99. It was very cool.
I know it's not language related, but like food is like, if you're going to be a racist, like
you don't get to go to Taco Bell.
You're cutting yourself off from all this amazing food. And as a fat guy, that's where I'm motivated, So anyway,
there was one great commercial, just real fast. There were some good commercials during the Super Bowl, but one was, it was just like this young Latino family with like a teenage girl, adolescent maybe, moving to a better neighborhood, quote unquote, right? Like a suburban neighborhood. And he gets her and she's upset, and like the father is like trying to talk to the neighbor, and the neighbor's giving him, just blowing him off because he's Latino. The girl like sees another teenage girl who like kind of ignores her because she's Latino, and like doesn't want to, what if I can't speak to her, kind of awkwardness. And then the girl's teenage, the white girl's dog runs away, and the Latino girl finds the dog, and there's a storm, and the dog runs away because there's a storm, and a branch falls blocking the racist guy's driveway. So the last scene is that the girl finds the dog and brings it to the home of this teenage girl who's in tears, and she hugs her. And then it cuts to the Latino guy, her dad, with a chainsaw, killing the neighbor. I mean, cutting the branches that fell in front of the neighbor's driveway and clearing the driveway for him. And the neighbor's an older guy, and he's looking out the window and seeing this guy doing this for him after he was an asshole to him. And then it's like, we're like, what are they selling? And it's like Redfin mortgages. And we're like, this was just a commercial saying, don't be a racist asshole. And,
also, like Redfin's very,
live...
very close to Redline, which is weird.
yeah, right. But it was so funny that the commercial was just, look at these people who are racist, and then realize what great neighbors they had. And it was also saying, you can move up to a different neighborhood, use our mortgages. But it was like, we were just like, oh, this is a great commercial. It's just, don't be racist, Trump. Like, that's all this commercial is.
I want to just say one last thing. I know this is like you're
editing it. You could put it before the close.
True. It's amazing to me how many unfuckable losers get to be racists, because it feels like, why are you shutting down the amount of like people in your dating pool?
But they would still sleep. They would still sleep.
True.
Yeah. Same way that misogynists still marry women and then abuse them.
Fair. Okay. Fair.
JD Vance. Like, you can be racist and still marry someone of a different race because you make an exception in your head, but you also think your wife's inferior to you anyway. So what's the difference if it's also racially?
True. Okay, I take it back. All right.
It's
Do you have
the
any last
GOP
thoughts
platform.
before we?
My last thought is thank you so much for staying with us to talk about the big stuff in Thank you for staying with us to talk about the big stuff in whatever language you had the translation set to.
Thank you.